Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, today I want to talk to you about choosing a cabin location on a cruise for your best cruise ever so you're not suffering through an entire cruise that could be a wonderful cruise, but because you chose the wrong cabin location, the whole thing just seems like a complete disaster. So some of the things you cannot control on a cruise ship, you cannot control how good the food's going to be, you cannot control how the staff is going to be, you cannot control how other passengers are going to be, and you cannot control the entertainment on board. But what you can control is where you're putting yourself on the cruise ship. If you're choosing your cruise cabin, and it's important to you to have the best cruise cabin location for your particular set of circumstances. For instance, myself, I can go anywhere. I don't get seasick. I don't suffer from anything like that. But what I will do is normally I will avoid the bow or the front of the cruise ship. That is the location that is going to be the roughest. And what I mean by that is when cruise ships are sailing and they're hitting the waves in front, the front of the ship is taking that brunt of the force of those waves. And so not only can that be the roughest as far as moving up and down is concerned on the cruise, it will also be the most noisy. You can often hear, in the minute you start getting any kind of rough seas, a complete sound reverberation right through your cruise cabins if you're in some of the front cabins going forward. And it can sound just like all the time, like this. And you can actually feel the cabin vibrate in sometimes, depending on how rough the seas are, how low you are. So I will avoid the front of the ship mostly at all costs. Another thing that you want to avoid when you're booking is try not to be directly below the pool deck or the Lido deck, if you will. Anything that has walking above you. Because there's going to be deck chairs, there's going to be people partying, there's going to be the TV screen up top, like the video screen playing at night. There's going to be live music up there. There's going to be all kinds of things going on that top deck. And it's not only just the live music going on or people around the pool deck swimming, etc., but just people who are moving lawn chairs around, moving those deck chairs around. You'll hear the scraping along your ceiling in your cabin. And when they're taking down those chairs in the evening and resetting them up in the morning, you'll hear that. And so sometimes at 4:30 in the morning, you're hearing scraping and grinding up above you in the cabin, like coming through the ceiling above you. So yeah, I would always avoid those locations as much as possible as you can. Speaking of other noisy locations, try and avoid being away from things like nightclubs or the theater. Try not to have the theater directly below you. Never book that location because during those shows, it's going to come right into your room. And especially if you book yourself near a nightclub where the music will be going on till the wee hours of the morning sometimes, especially depending on the cruise line you're on. If you're on a cruise line that's known to have late night parties, like Virgin Cruise Lines and some of the Carnival cruise ships out there, well, forget about it. At 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, you can hear that music and the beat, boom, 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 of the DJ and the soundtrack and everything going. Or even worse, the drummer of a live band. You can just hear just wailing away on those skins. Well, it's going to come right into your cabin. And you don't even necessarily have to be directly under it. You could be down the corridor a bit, but sometimes because of the stairwells on the older ships, etc., it'll travel and it'll get right to you anyway. So I always look to make sure wherever I am, I'm away from a nightclub or live entertainment venue of any kind. because that's where the most noise will come from at a wide variety of times, right? At 4 in the morning, you're not going to hear a lot of stuff coming from the theater. But you never know with those nightclubs on some cruise lines. Another place you might want to avoid. Now, to be fair, this is, I found to be cruise line associated, if you will. Depending on the cruise line you're on. For instance, if you're on a cruise line like a 3-day cruise with a lot of college students and people getting away for the weekend, where they tend to be more in a party mood. Or if you're going on a cruise with a ton of kids on it, where it's a summer cruise and kids are on vacation and there's a ton of kids, I always try and avoid being right near an elevator, because on those cruise lines it can get really noisy around an elevator bank. And some cruise lines, especially the older ships, have kind of like air vents up around the door frame, which is meant to provide airflow through the cruise and the cabin, which sounds like a good idea, right? The airflow keeps everything regulated and everything. Well, it also allows the noise from outside the hallway into your cabin. And if you're near the elevator banks, you'll often hear the people coming back from the late night nightclub dancing and partying and having a good time. And they're having a good time. They're still in that good time frame of mind. And they're not thinking, oh, it's 2 in the morning and other people in this hallway are sleeping. They're thinking, hey, what a great time we're having. And they're joking and they're laughing. They're a little tipsy, etc. Or kids will run up and down the hallways, rushing to the cabin or rushing to the elevator, and you'll hear that footsteps running down the hall, and it can be all kinds of night. You know, some people don't put their kids to bed at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. They'll let their kids stay up till 1, 2 in the morning. They'll bring them to the shows. They'll bring them out to the pool deck at night to watch movies under the stars. And it's all part of the vacation. So where would I do? I would not stay near an elevator on some cruise lines. If I'm on a more adult-oriented, less party ship, the elevators don't seem to be an issue on most of those types of sailings at all. So I would not hesitate to book near there. And finally, as a personal preference, a place that I would try not to book is an obstructed balcony. The savings between an obstructed balcony and a balcony cabin usually is not a great deal of money. However, if you were looking to book, say, an inside cabin and could get an obstructed balcony for around the same price, then it's a good deal, because you're not looking for the view at that point. You're kind of looking for the fresh air coming in and light coming in. You're not really looking for the view compared to, because you were going to be in an inside cabin anyway. So often if you book a obstructed balcony, for instance, you'll get a view of the ship tenders. Or in my case, the captain and the observation deck. Even in a suite, you can end up with a obstructed view balcony, and it can be very detrimental if you're the person who likes to sit on your balcony and look out at the ocean, look out at the night sky, wake up in the morning and have your coffee out on the deck, walk out and look at the cruise port where you just arrived, a brand new destination you've never been to. Oh, look at this, I'm in Australia, and you have a tender looking right here in front of your face and you can't see it. So that's a personal preference. I'm a person who loves to spend time on his balcony, and so yeah, I would avoid getting up on that balcony, an obstructed balcony for sure. Even in the suite, you can get an obstructed balcony. Let me know in the comments down below, are there some cabins that you would absolutely not want to book? Or does it not matter for you? You're just looking for the cheapest possible cabin. You're not going to spend a lot of time in the cabin anyway. However, you're going to spend sleeping time in the cabin. And if it's noisy and uncomfortable and rough seas, then maybe that money you saved isn't quite worth it. And maybe a little bit more money to move a little further back in the ship would have been a good idea. Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.